We thought that the astrology of 2020 has been intense thus far. Well, Mars retrograde is a few days away. We're about to enter Mars retrograde, and it's about to shake things up even more for both our personal individual experiences and our public and collective experience as a society. Let's break down Mars retrograde in Aries and figure out how to navigate it so that we can make it a more positive and empowering experience as much as possible. Hello my loves, welcome back to my channel. If you're new, I'm Leeor Alexandra. Welcome to the Baby Elephant community. On this channel we talk about the law of attraction, spirituality, self-development, aliens, and sometimes, often, the cosmos, the stars. You might know I'm very into astrology. I think it's very important to know what's going on cosmologically and seeing how that manifests into the material world down here on Earth. The sky is so powerful. There's so much that it can teach us, and we benefit so much from having that knowledge. So today, I want to talk to you guys about Mars retrograde, which starts September 9th, ends November 13th. We've been in its shadow since about July 25th. We'll talk about that in this video. So I have a couple of disclaimers to make. So the first is that while I'm fascinated by astrology, I look into it to explain shifts of energy in my life, in the life of my family and my friends and my community. I don't religiously adhere to the warnings of astrologers. For example, it's really cool and useful to know what's happening in the sky, but some astrologers recommend not to start anything new during Mars retrograde. To postpone it till after Mars retrograde. So I have taken measures to postpone certain things that have to be postponed, or that I can postpone, that I can take my time, take advantage of this Mars retrograde time, which is all about envisioning and planning for the future, which we'll talk about. But I'm taking that time, and rather than jumping to start this new thing, I'm taking this time to incubate those ideas. And once Mars retrograde is over, I'm going to go for them, because we're still going to be in Aries energy, and that energy is actually going to really help to propel us forward, to jumpstart those ideas. So that'll be really useful November 14th and until January 2nd. Again, we'll talk about all this later. But what I'm trying to say is if something came up during those 2 months, something new that I had the opportunity to start doing, or something that I really wanted to start and I don't want to wait until the end of Mars retrograde, I would still do it. I don't live my life completely in accordance with every whim of the cosmos, because it's difficult, and a lot of astrologers do live their life that way, and I think it's really cool. I follow a lot of them on Twitter, and it's really good advice, but you still, we came here not to play things safe, but to expand and to explore and to experience. And sometimes we do things in the right time, sometimes we don't. Overall, it's nice to have some sort of blueprint from the stars, but I like to deviate from it when I feel like it's right for me. And that leads us to the second disclaimer that is from my understanding. We have transits in our charts, in each of our individual charts, and all charts for events and for everything, right? So these transits actually interact with our own consciousness. And so the way that our charts in the cosmos manifest into our physical lives is still directly affected by our mindset, our beliefs, and our attitudes. So what you think and what you desire and what you want is important. You're not at the mercy of the stars. You are the stars. You are the same thing as the stars. They are just expressing themselves through you and through all of us in different ways. So I don't like to look at it as it's all written. I can't make any changes because this is what my chart says. It's more like, well, I'm going to be expressed through my chart, but I'm going to still change my life according to what I desire. What does desire mean? Desire etymologically actually means to hope for something that the stars give. Our desires go hand in hand with what the stars give us, what the universe and what God and spirit gives us. So it all goes synchronistically and synergetically hand in hand. So you can want something and it's actually going to be written in the stars. I talk more about that in other videos, and I'll do more videos about that if you're interested in the future. All of that is to say that you have nothing to be afraid of. You are the point of this whole thing. You are the entire universe experiencing itself. And part of that is you're experiencing yourself as the sky, as the inner and the outer sky. You are the point of this whole crazy game, so there's nothing to be afraid of. So don't feel powerless, feel empowered to know that there's a blueprint to help you to navigate this game. That's what astrology is. It's the blueprint of the human and universal game that we're all playing. So let's get into the blueprint of Mars retrograde and what you can expect during the 2 months then Mars nears us, becomes brighter, more red, more striking. So Mars goes retrograde in Aries on September 9th. It's going to be a few days from when this video is posted, but if you're watching this during the retrograde, it lasts all the way till November 13th, but we are in its shadow until January 2nd, 2021. So this is going to be beneficial to be watching all throughout that time and during any Mars cycle, really. So just like Venus's recent cycle, we're becoming more intimate with Mars during the later half of 2020. We have a lot of time with him right now. So 2020 has been a year that's been fraught with difficult astrological events that have clearly manifested into the material through what's going on, the global pandemic, the racial injustices, the upheavals of society, really. Everything that we're experiencing has all been reflected from the stars. So we can expect more of that in this cycle as well. We're going through a collective dark night of the soul still, and we're being initiated into the light by getting through these difficulties and making huge societal changes, right? We're moving from the masculine into the feminine, into the age of Aquarius. And most importantly, I believe we're creating a lot of changes individually in our own lives and in how we live and interact with others. On a societal level, I am seeing that the major theme during Mars retrograde is going to be suppressed anger and frustration bursting at the seams, sort of like a pressure pot. Ultimately, there's going to be a lessening of tension, a breath of fresh air once Mars is direct again. Hopefully, that's what we're hoping for. On November 14th, things will start making sense again and we can start connecting the dots. But during Mars retrograde, during these 2 months, it's a good time to lay low and focus on inner work and laying groundwork for the future. On a personal, individual level, the major theme that I'm seeing is hard decisions for an easier life. Or it's not easy, but it's worth it. That's the theme for Mars retrograde on an individual level. So basically, let's take Martian energy and explain it through a Stoic philosophy, right? The things we don't necessarily want to do lead us to places we do want to go. And doing the easy things actually takes us to more difficult places. So the best example of this is working out, right? So it might not be what you want to do in the moment. You don't want to get out of bed, go and move and sweat and get your heart beating fast, but it's going to benefit you so much right after and in the long run, especially in the long run. It might be easier to stay on the couch and watch Netflix for 6 more hours, but that's not going to benefit you in the long run. So that's the Martian cycle right now. That can be applied to anything you're going through here. Put in the work to reap the benefits at the end. So let's talk about Mars a little bit. As Venus is the feminine within us, Mars rules the masculine. It's the warrior, the god of war. And remember that this has nothing to do with gender, has nothing to do with plumbing, with what your physical presentation of gender and sex is. We all have feminine and masculine energy within us. How this manifests into a person's personality in birth charts where Mars plays a big role, we see a person who is super straightforward and super feisty, fiery, right? Mars represents our journey as a collective and as individual, developing will, courage, assertiveness. Mars rules aggression, sex, action, desire, and when it goes retrograde, it's going to affect these areas more than the other areas. So now Mars is in Aries, and Mars actually rules Aries. So this makes it a lot more intense than the last time that Mars went retrograde in Aries, because there's all these different aspects to it. I think the last time was somewhere like 1988. The next time is going to be 2067. So this is actually a really prominent one. So Mars rules Aries, which is going to make this retrograde even more intense. It doesn't retrograde in Aries all that often. Those with prominent Aries placements in their charts, you're going to feel this retrograde more than others. This does not necessarily mean something bad or something to be afraid of. It's an opportunity just for you to bring more light in, more consciousness in, face your challenges and your triumphs with a level head, and just experience more of yourself. I think that the people who experience this time more than others get a really good opportunity to explore themselves more and to grow at an accelerated rate. So I think you should celebrate that. It's going to be intense and challenging, but it's going to be rewarding. Just like the theme, it's like hard decisions for an easier life, right? And what's good is when you're conscious of this energy, conscious of this time, you know what the energy of this time is bringing, and so you can be prepared to face it with more of a balance, more of center, more calm and level-headedness. What should we be aware of during this Mars cycle? So when Mars is retrograde, we might feel hesitant to assert ourselves, to make demands or to stand up for ourselves, to ask for things. We might experience this either personally or out in the world, experience people being more passive, and we might experience ourselves internalizing our anger instead of expressing it in a healthy way. I'm seeing that right now on a collective level. A lot of people are suppressing their emotions, especially their anger, internalizing it, and we might see some sort of societal thing happening that's going to force all of that energy outward. So possibly through violence. So these are all things to watch out for and just to work through with awareness. So notice when you're getting frustrated and angry and just kind of sit with it. I'm going to give you some journal and some affirmations at the end of this video that you can work with. When you're getting angry, just asking yourself, what am I really angry about? And try not to let yourself get completely carried away, become like this volcano, black out with anger. Just being level-headed with that anger and feeling it and letting it pass through you. I recommend to return to your breath when this happens and laugh because you recognize Mars retrograde energy, and try to work it out in another way. Walk away from it for a bit and return to it later, whatever it may be. Your work or something you're building or a relationship, a conflict with somebody, whatever it may be. Bring ease into your life during this time and a lot of patience, and attempt to bring in a positive attitude. It's going to make things so much easier. Recognize that you might be acting irrationally or instinctively during this time. And so rather than indulge in confrontation, take this time really for introspection. So rather than being like, oh, this person, I need to tell this person exactly how I feel right now and I'm going to attack them and defend myself, actually retreat and kind of feel what you're feeling and be like, well, why am I feeling this? Where is this coming from? Work with your emotions, notice them, acknowledge them. During this time, you might notice changes in your libido, in your sex life, and in your work life. It's most important to just simply slow down, act with care. Don't be frustrated with yourself or with others if this does come up for you. Don't force anything, and bring yourself back to your center and continue to choose patience during this time. So I told my best friend who has a ton of Aries placements that she'll most likely be feeling this a lot. It's not a bad thing, and she was so positive about it. It was awesome. It's not a bad thing. It's just an opportunity for growth and for more changes. I told her that though she might experience some frustration and aggression, ultimately this is helping her on her journey, and just to not force anything, be easy about things and just try to go with the flow. So let's talk about the world at large during Mars retrograde in Aries. Like I've said, we've seen a lot of astrological events playing out in real life in amazing accuracy, and it looks like this retrograde is going to follow suit. It's going to intensify the battle for power in society, in government versus people. We're going to be experiencing energy that forces us out of balance, out of even more balance, due to intense cosmological pressure. Some astrologers do believe that we're going to see changes in government structures where we might experience movement towards independent factions. I don't know how that's going to play out. It's going to be interesting to watch that. It looks like we're also going to see people stepping up to fight against injustice like they have been, but even more intensely. It's going to become more violent, an attempt at vigilante, really. The way that I see it expressed is in the US, that whoever wins this election that we have coming up, there's going to be a violent reaction from either side. Quite unfortunately, but this is the Great Awakening, and this is what we're experiencing. Because this is the case, I urge the most sensitive amongst us, the most magical amongst us light workers, please keep up with your meditation practice. Please learn your own way of protesting or whatever it is that you need to do, because not everything will work for you. Don't burn yourself out. A lot of us got burnt out a few months ago. Take care of yourself. Fill up your own cup so that you can keep showing up for this Great Awakening. We need your energy to continue to align to the most optimal timeline. We need you. So take care of yourself. I know that it hasn't felt like we've been in the most optimal timeline since the beginning of this year, but we remember that we must walk through the demons to enter the temple doors. Now I want to talk about what you should personally do during this time. During Mars retrograde in Aries, self-care is crucial, even more so than it was in the Venus cycle. You need time for yourself, especially to journal about your feelings and to continuously bring yourself back to the light. This is necessary right now. I highly recommend doing things that take out aggression and take out frustration, such as working out. Move your body, run, hit something, scream, do something physical. Be very visceral about things because you want to let out stagnant energy and anger through the body. I recommend considering starting a Qigong practice. I do Qigong every morning. Make sure energy is flowing correctly in your body and not becoming stagnant because of this intense frustration. This Mars retrograde, this next 2 months, it's a really good time to create routine and to bring discipline back into an area of your life that you need it in, if not your entire life. So these 2 months are an excellent time for planning for the future. So preparing yourself through creating a routine and envisioning, not with the mind, not with the intellect, but not through thought, but just really letting yourself get creative and magical. So creating this creative and magical vision for your life and starting to see it and plan, not with thoughts, but with kind of emotions and desire. So really make time to imagine amazing things happening for yourself, for your loved ones, for the world. Make vision boards, but don't get mad if they keep falling off the walls. Could happen, it's frustrating. It's not recommended to start actually working towards these things until November 13th passes, but this is the time to visualize and to dream big. So I will be taking this time, the 2 months of Mars retrograde, to really plan. I wanted to release this new line for Alchemy by LA. By the way, I'm wearing some of the new jewelry that we will have in the future. I've decided to take these 2 months to plan for the future, but not to release anything new. These minis will be up soon. They're not new, we already released them, we just sold out. So those will be up, but the rest of the jewelry I'm going to wait until after Mars retrograde. I'm going to be planning and designing new things during this whole time and then releasing them after retrograde when I am supported by the Mars and Aries energy. Remember that after November 13th, we still have Mars and Aries energy, so that shifts us into a great time for starting new things. So once Mars goes direct, you can start to take inspired and massive action after your 2-month rest and envisioning that you just took, right? During this time also, you might see yourself changing your position or your mind about certain things on a certain topic, and it's going to better align and reflect your desires and how you identify yourself. I already spoke about a worldwide effect of Mars retrograde, but I do just want to give a little note. Consider preparing to be indoors the majority of the Mars retrograde period. I'm not telling you to go hoard things. I am telling you to consider stocking up little by little throughout September, just to be prepared. I'm not saying anything bad is going to happen. We just don't know how it's going to play out. Please don't go buy all the toilet paper from your local Target. I'm just saying prepare yourself to be able to spend time indoors for a little bit. We still don't know how this is going to play out. We're going to see. And now I just want to give you some journaling questions for Mars retrograde. What battles must I face? Where must I be more assertive if I am not to suffer pointless conflict and strife? How can I sharpen my will? How do I express my aggressiveness? So those are from The Inner Sky by Stephen Forrest, I believe. The other 3 prompts are for me. Where am I reacting unconsciously? What am I angry about? And what am I really angry about? Now, I do have one affirmation that I'm going to be repeating during Mars retrograde. It is, I am at peace with the world. The world is a safe and friendly place. We're going to need this affirmation. If you have a good affirmation for Mars retrograde after watching this video or after doing your own research, please leave it in the comments below. I have an exciting announcement. Also, if you're one of the 100 people who was a part of the Venus workshop back in June, July, I'm considering doing a Mars workshop as well, just to keep us in a place of sacredness and equilibrium while everything is happening outside, having a safe space to express ourselves and to work through that energy and through things that come up for us during this time. I'm considering doing that. I just have to get my laptop camera fixed. So it's going to only be 100 spots. Last time that sold out in a few hours. So just sign up for the email list below to find out about that. I hope you guys liked it. I love doing these astrology videos. If you want more of them, please give it a thumbs up. If you got something out of this, give it a thumbs up. Share this video on your social media platforms because it really helps grow the baby elephant community and keep this channel alive and well. I love you guys so much. Thank you. I'll talk to you in the comments right when this video is posted. Until next time, as always, keep your vibrations way, way, way up. Bye.